So I figured for this YouTube video, to do the story kind of justice, I figured I'd do a little storytelling as I overlay the videos. This day we started out actually at the fire station. We kind of planned last week, my buddy Steve and I. The week before, we decided we were going to get together and head straight from the station and head up the mountain and try to kill a deer. We got off that morning. It was like 7 o'clock. It was almost daylight. So we get up to the parking lot, and as we're getting everything loaded up, I mean, daylight's just breaking. I think it's just getting legal shooting light. Meet a gentleman on the trail. He's a good dude. He recognized me from social media and a mutual friend. Introduced ourselves and kind of went on our way. So Steve and I started working our way up this ridge top, hiked a couple miles in, and we only saw a few does by that time. And ran into some chucker hunters, which we figured kind of blew all the deer out of the area. We kind of hiked back and forth on this main ridge multiple times and just kept glassing. It was kind of windy, not too bad, but there wasn't much movement. Huh?
Yeah.
So there wasn't much movement. We kind of planted it on this this little rock cliff, and we're kind of chilling for a little bit. And I got a text from the guy that I met at the parking lot, and he said that he had a buck spotted on the other side where he was sitting. So I ended up going to the top of the ridge and I connected with this guy, and I was going to talk him in on this buck, which you see here. He was kind of chilling with some does, feeding along, and there was about 3 people to my south on the next knob. I don't think they saw the deer. Turns out Steve actually knew him, and I guess they saw another deer that they were going to go after. So what they did was they kind of went around the east side of this knob, which is where that other deer... My helper's gone now. So they went around the east side of this knob, and they ended up spooking this deer that this gentleman was gonna go chase after. So this deer ran up over the knob and disappeared. Kind of never saw him again. So the day goes on. Steve and I are glassing back and forth on this main ridge that runs north to south. We're glassing on the west side, pop over, we'll glass on the east side a little bit. Only seeing like a small buck crosses a road, a couple does that are bedded in the trees, and not seeing much. So we actually almost bailed. We almost went home. We're like, this kind of sucks. This is stupid. Supposedly there was a storm that was supposed to roll in that evening. It was getting super cold, kind of stormy. We were kind of talking between ourselves. We're like, man, it'd be a lot nicer just snuggling on the couch with our wives and not being out here in this cold weather. It's getting windy and crappy, and just, you know, the highs and lows of bow hunting during the winter. So we're like, you know what, we're already out here, let's just stay out here. We kind of talked about, let's just go over that knob where that buck disappeared to. Maybe he'll come feeding back. So we work our way around some private using Onyx maps just to stay legal and stay out of trouble. We got to these rock cliffs, and we're just sitting there glassing, and the storm was supposed to hit, it hit, and it was starting to spit snow. It was windy, it was nasty, and we're sitting there freezing our butts off. I didn't bring a ton of clothes to wear. I didn't realize it was going to be storming. So we actually kind of stand up, we start like BSing, talking, and all of a sudden Steve looks over my shoulder and says, big buck, get down. So we got down, and I have my Predator decoy that straps to my bow. I have that kind of sitting up, and I'm laying down. I got my spot and scope and tripod up the hill. I got my camera over here. We're nowhere near ready for this deer, and he comes and he jumps a fence over private, and he's chasing this doe, and they're feeding towards us. I think they're about 180 yards right now, and just slowly working their way. And it takes, gosh, it seems like 4 hours, but it was probably only 30 minutes. And I was able to reach over, grab my tripod, pulled it close to me, and I kind of set it up as I'm laying in some rock cliffs. So I can see just over these rock cliffs, I can see this buck, and I'm able to get my phone scope up on him and start recording some video, which you can see here. And it's pretty awesome to watch him just kind of moseying along. And if it wasn't for Steve, I probably would have went and tried to get on this buck a lot sooner. I get a little antsy, a little impatient, pretty aggressive. At least with elk hunting and stuff, I get pretty aggressive. So I was like, I'm gonna go after this deer. And he's like, sit down, wait, they're feeding towards us, we got plenty of daylight. Just kind of get snuggled down in those rocks and wait for them to come feeding towards us. There's a giant buck working our way. We're posted up here in these cliffs. I'm shaking like a leaf. Hopefully he comes in range. So what do? They come start feeding towards us, and they actually go down a little bit and go just over this little rise, and they're probably, I think they were like 150 yards away feeding across. And Steve said as soon as they disappear, you get down there and cut them off. So this is where I get to shine, because I like to be aggressive and go after them. And as soon as they disappeared, man, I bailed down these cliffs. I just hustled through all this oak brush, and I fly down there. And as soon as I get to where they're starting to come across, I'm like, okay, I'm in a good position. Next thing I know, I see two faces, this doe and this buck, sprinting at me. I got the decoy up and I got oak brush in my face. I can't do anything about it, and they are sprinting right at me, and they're 50 yards, 40 yards, and they just go flying by me. Like they had no idea I was there. They didn't even care about me. So as they're heading north away from me, I take off sprinting on a deer trail above them, and we're kind of paralleling. He drops down into this drainage, and I'm at the top of the drainage, and I'm like, okay, I see some white butts coming up, and I'm thinking it's him. It ends up being 3 or 4 does, and I range thinking he's gonna come out. It was 100 yards, the long shot. Did dial my sight, and I was waiting for him to come out, and if everything was right, only the situation would have been able to tell. And no buck came out. I was like, what in the world is going on? So that other drainage, I was sitting here facing this drainage, and the ridge I was on is heading down the hill. And I kind of look out of the corner of my eye, and what I see, the buck and a doe standing there staring at me. And at this point, he's at 95 yards down the hill, and just calm as could be, just sitting there chilling, because I got that decoy up. And I honestly think I would not have killed this deer without that decoy, because he's just sitting there looking at the decoy, and I got oak brush over all of his vitals except his face. So I start taking this little deer trail diagonaling towards him and to the north, kind of, because he's facing south. So I start coming this way to him, and I get to 80 yards, and I have just this beautiful opening to his vitals, and just like, it's like, oh. So I range him, dial my sight, calm as can be, draw my bow, and as I'm about to touch off, a Black Hawk helicopter comes flying over, and the buck kind of looks up a little bit and had just zero attention to me, and I touch off. He doesn't jump the string, he doesn't anything, and I see this huge donkey kick from this buck, and from my experience, that's usually a really good sign. So he donkey kicks. I can't believe it. I just hit that buck. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's a good buck. He goes plowing through all this oak brush. It looks like Jurassic Park because all these trees are just waving as he's plowing through. And he gets to this little opening on the other side of this oak brush, and I glass him up, and he's just standing there. And he's just standing there, and I can tell he's sick. And this is seconds after I shot him. So then I go sprinting over to this rock opening to where I can set up and get like a good glass on him and not take my eyes off him until he dies. So, and that's exactly what I did. I made a few phone calls to my dad. I called Steve. I probably never cursed that much talking to my father. Sorry, Dad. I was really excited. And I'm just sitting there with my binos. Steve's got my tripod with the phone scope, so I don't get any phone scope until Steve gets down there. But I'm just watching him. He lays down, lays his head down, comes back up. Over the course of 5-10 minutes, he does that a couple times, and by the time Steve gets there, I still don't want to believe it, but we throw the phone scope up and his feet are splayed out and his head's down, and yeah, you can kind of see the rest here. Okay. Should I stop him? No, dude, he's dead. He's not even breathing. You son of a bitch. He's dead. Did I just kill a giant?
That worked out. Patience, man.
80 yards.
Patience.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I paced that with an older guy, an old man. Good job, dude. That's a buck of a lifetime.
Oh my god, I'm gonna freaking cry.
Dude, that is good job, man. That gives me chills. I'm happy for you.
You put in so many miles. So many miles. And oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Is he really dead? Oh my gosh.
Jared.
I just killed a giant. A freaking giant.
A giant.
Oh my gosh, bro. So, they came running across there, 50 yards. I wasn't ready. My head was in bushes.
I see it.
So, I'm gonna keep watching him.
Just don't check.
So, I get to up there in that pine, and I see asses coming out of there. So I range 100 yards, dial my sight to him. Yeah, that's what I thought he was with. And then I look down to my right. At 95 yards, he's standing there staring at me. I hold up my doe decoy, walk right at him, to the side, so I had an open lane.
So
80 yards.
I'm gonna get one. Oh my god, dude. What an area, huh? How bad?
Steve phone scoped me going down and making sure that the buck is dead, and just a wave of emotions hits me. I kind of freak out a little bit. If you've seen in my other videos, I do get a little emotional, and after a long season, I missed a couple bucks with my rifle. One of them was a chip shot, and it's kind of one of those things that everything happens for a reason. Looking back now, I'm glad I missed them, but kind of had my moment with the deer, and on my way back to meet up with Steve, I honestly collapsed in the trail, and just a wave of like tears and emotions and excitement just like overcame me, and I hit the ground and kind of had a little moment there, and then I beat feet up to Steve, grabbed all our gear, and went back, took a bunch of pictures, high-fived. Yeah, it was incredible. I still can't believe that I shot this deer.
I just smoked the biggest buck of my freaking life just now. And he looks dead. But before it gets dark, I'm gonna go try to put another arrow in him, or just make sure Steve's gonna watch from up above, make sure that he doesn't go anywhere. He hasn't moved in about 5 minutes. So, oh my gosh, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, baby, yeah. I'm really sorry for the nostril shot, but that's all you're gonna get for a second. We're getting close. Hopefully there's no bats in my cave. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? It is a freaking bomber! Oh my gosh! I never thought in a million years I would kill a buck like this. Oh yes! Alright, I'm gonna go get my stuff before it gets dark. Don't you wonder what's in store for us? And now we have no car. Girls no longer want that's everything. Wonders. Are you freaking kidding me right now? Look at this thing. Oh my gosh. Good job, man. His bases are massive. Oh my gosh. I mean, he's. Everything you have took you 18
future inside. It's the past that you thrive on, and it'll get you through life. Good night, teenage boy, sleep time. Good night, my young adult, it'll be alright. Wear your graduation gown and then take a bow.
Yeah. Got them all loaded up in the XO. Gonna pack them out. Thanks, Judy. You helped a ton today. So jacked.
Oh my gosh. Nice.
Oh crap. Forgot my load lifters. You know, it's a good day when you gotta crawl to get you back on. Oh, there's sons of... Yes, sir! Do I look as cool as I feel right now?
I don't know if it's cool or...
That's clever. You see good?
You got deer hooves sticking out the top, but that's alright.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Pretty stoked. Got a little bit of a pack ahead of us. And off the mountain, get to show and tell. Thanks for following along, guys. Probably a boring first 6 days, but we got it done. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. Anytime.
You're a bad A. Great friend. Let me shoot this buck. So, okay. Peace out.
It was incredible. I still can't believe that I shot this deer. I mean, it's pretty awesome. He's a stud. His 3-point sight's pretty freaking awesome. Awesome eye yards. So, yeah. Pretty stoked about that. Definitely my best buck by far. So, yeah. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you. Please subscribe. It's definitely a hunt for the books. I'll never forget it. Take care, guys.